Hello, my name is Graham/Solus, and today I'm going to be doing what is possibly the first episode of a series in which I take common AUs for warrior cats and I kind of make them my own in a way. I'm not saying like these are like the first time this version of the AU's ever been done, but like it's the kind that I came up with, if that makes sense. So for the first episode, if this is a series, will be Snowkit Lives. We all know Snowkit. We all feel sad about Snowkit, because why did you take the only deaf character you've ever had in the series while they were a kitten and kill them? What the fuck? Anyway, on to the actual video. As you can see, one of the line arts was already done, and that is because I do a messy sketch, clean sketch, and then line art. I skipped the clean sketch phase on the first one. But yeah, these are just like little scenes I thought of. There was like a few scenes that like I could have done instead that could have been cool, but these are the ones that like at the time of drawing, these were the ones that I had in my head. I won't be like doing in-depth descriptions of everything because it's like just a small little overview of like what the AU would be about kind of thing. So let's get into it. Snowkit had an eventful kithood, we all know that. According to the wiki, it's been a while since I read the first arc, so I had to go with the wiki and other sources and stuff, but like technically I have the first arc, and I could have skimmed it, but I didn't, so apologies if anything I say is wrong. At all. Assume I'm right. I'm always right, we know this now. Anyway. We've established this, I'm always right. Anyway, he was a unnamed kit at the time. He was a unnamed kit when the fire hit in the first arc that killed Yellowfang. So he was an unnamed kit at that time. So we know he was there at that time. So he was around the same age as Bramble Kit and Tawny Kit. I'm going to assume he was around the same age, like maybe like same month, because I couldn't figure out if he was older or younger. He might have been younger. He was probably younger, but I made them the same age because it's easier for me for writing purposes. So yeah. So we're gonna go to the Hawk. Pretty much, while skimming through, I noticed a thing that I like vaguely remembered, which was Speckletail managed to grab the Hawk for a moment. And that moment is all I needed to have the go-ahead to have Swiftpaw, Bramblefur? Brackenfur. Anyway, for Swiftpaw and Brackenfur to jump in with Speckletail and they off the Hawk. They kill the Hawk. And thus, Snowkit lives. Because the three of them destroyed the Hawk. Swiftpaw did indeed carry around the Hawkwing for a few days before the other cats yelled at him for carrying around a dead body part. It was a trophy to him. He killed a Hawk. He was very excited about that. But yeah, Snowkit is saved, the Hawk is killed. He does have a few, scars on his shoulders, and that is from the talons, but other than that, he's pretty okay. He's physically okay. Mentally, he probably has trauma if he remembers this moment, like, when he's older kind of thing, because, like, it's been shown that, like, young kithood is, like, hard for the older cats to remember, like, when they get older, which makes sense, because that is how age works. So if he can remember it, probably has trauma from it, or he probably has trauma from something he can't remember. Which is also how trauma works sometimes. Anyway, on to the next part. As the clan is recovering, and you know, like, of having a Hawk just swoop in and try and take a kit, as they're recovering from that, Speckletail and Brackenfur worked with Snowkit to, like, start forming a cohesive, like, cat sign language? I would say it would be, like, body language. Like actual cat body language, and like a little bit more in depth than that. Because in Warriors they don't really use the same level of body language that cats do in real life. So I would say it's like that with a little bit more added onto it since they do have human intelligence. So they form this like cat sign language, and they start teaching it to their clanmates so they can communicate with Snow, because it's very obvious now Snow is going to survive to apprenticehood. So they start working on being able to communicate with him and to form a language. Swiftpaw is still not given his warrior name, even though he did help save Snowkit from the Hawk. which pushes him even harder to try and prove himself more. which is why he and Brightpaw still go to Snake Rocks to try and, you know, take care of whatever's happening there. And Swiftpaw still dies. Brightpaw is still injured and is named Lostface. Snowkit mourns Swiftpaw. They had grown close ever since Swift had saved him. Snowkit started to like really look up to him. And then Swiftpaw dies, so he mourns him, and he feels sad. I don't know how to describe it. He feels like someone feels when someone close to them dies. And heartbroken. I'm not good at describing emotions. He also feels really upset, not just because they have grown close, but also because they are family. Because according to the wiki, Goldenflower is Snow's older sister. I did not know this. I don't know if it's like said in the book, or if it was like word from God from the writers, like confirmed outside of the books. I have no clue, but they're apparently related. So, yeah. Now for the apprenticeship. Snowkit just made an apprentice alongside Bramblekit and Tawnykit because, like I said earlier, I couldn't figure out if he was older or younger, so I just made them the same age and they become apprentices. They become apprentices together. Snowpaw is given to Brackenfur, as Fireheart promised in canon that Bracken would be allowed to train Snow if Snow made it to apprenticehood. So in this AU, Bracken gets to train Snow, which means Tawny is not trained by Bracken, which means I had to try and figure out who the hell was available at the time to train an apprentice. And I just could not piece that together. Like, technically Cloudtail, but also he was like just made a warrior. So, since Cloudtail was like just made a warrior not too long ago, Fireheart couldn't realistically give him an apprentice without like getting even more weird looks than he would when giving Tawny to Brackenfur. So he does give him the Sandstorm. And instead of like the conflict of the not giving Sandstorm an apprentice because Fireheart is trying to protect her, and like they have that conflict and like argument kind of thing, the argument is Fireheart won't stop hovering over Sandstorm while she's training Tawny. So that is the conflict, and they like resolve it the same way they kind of do with not giving Sandstorm an apprentice. And Bramble is still given to Fire, because I saw no reason to change that. As you're gonna see, it's like decently canon compliant. Snow is just kind of there. He does some things that would affect the story to a degree, but he is still, at least in the first arc, he's just kind of there. In the second arc, one thing would probably affect the story, which we'll get to when we get to it. Snow is decently average apprentice. Like, he's not like bad at it. He's not amazing at it. He's pretty decent. The only thing that like really sets him apart from other apprentices is the fighting style he develops. And that fighting style is similar to how cats fight in real life. Or at least from how I've seen cats fight in real life, which is just kind of throwing themselves around, just flinging themselves and like spinning. Like, it looks like they're dancing in the weirdest way possible. And that is his fighting style, because in Warriors, they don't really fight like that. They fight more calculated, because they have human level intelligence. So the way Snow fights is he like spins around. So the way Snow fights is that he spins around a lot and flips and just constantly twisting and turning, and like it's one, hard to get a hold on him, and two, it's so he can see around himself constantly, because if he can't hear the enemy coming, he needs to see them coming. Like, technically he could smell them coming, but that's only if he's downwind from, yeah, if he's downwind, because the wind would be, so he would only be able to smell them if he's downwind from them. So yeah, he develops a semi-unique fighting style for the way warriors fight, which is just fighting like a normal cat. Pretty much a lot of Snowkit is this, just we're putting a normal average cat into this world. Pretty much at this point, because he helps develop normal cat body language with a few added spices. Normal cat fighting style with a few added spices. So yeah. He is sent with the other cats in the clan to go hide off over by, I believe they were sent to Sunning Rocks. Or was it the owl tree? I can't remember. They're sent off away from leading dogs off cliff. He's over with the average crew, while the main character deals with it with the cats who have been like directly affected by the dogs. And Sandstorm. Fireheart is directly affected because he's the protagonist. Sandstorm, just kind of there. Longtail lost Swiftpaw. Technically, Snow could have also been there because he lost Swiftpaw, but like Longtail was like really, really attached to Swiftpaw. Ash and Fern because they lost their mother. I can't remember if anyone else was in the running crew for the dogs. But yeah. What else? What else? Ah, alright. You can see one of the drawings is like he looks like he's woken up while Bramble and Tawny are outside and like Tawny's actively leaving. That is because the night Tawny leaves, Bramble just smacks him in the face on accident with his tail while walking out. And Snowpaw just kind of wakes up like for a moment, sees them leave, and it's just like, oh, they're gonna go have a sibling talk. I'm going back to bed, see ya. And just passes out again. And when he wakes up, Tawny isn't there. And the next day, Tawny isn't there, and the next day, Tawny isn't there, and the next day, Tawny isn't there. This also hurts him. Because he had grown close with Tawny and Bramble, specifically Tawny. Him and Bramble were on good terms, but him and Tawny were like becoming close friends. And also seeing his sister, Goldenflower, being distraught over her kid being gone, really affected him. To a point of where he wants to like hold those he cares about close. Even though him and Bramble do drift apart a lot when they become a warrior. Like, when they become warriors, they drift apart a lot. But yeah, it affects him a lot. He also participates in the battle with Blood Clan. He participates in that, and he's a part of the groups of apprentices that... Remember that group of apprentices that just destroy Bone? He's a part of that. Because I thought it was fun. It was such a funny scene. Like, it was dramatic. But it was funny to just have these bunch of really young cats just destroying this giant... I think Bone was a giant cat. I can't remember if he was. Oh well, a lot of this video is either I don't remember, or I had to stitch this together by like skimming info, docs, and wiki and stuff. But yeah, the first arc ends, and then I didn't order anything in specific arcs for when he's a warrior, because like when he's a warrior it's the other arcs. And I couldn't be bothered to do research for each arc. So a lot of his warriorship isn't really written down. Because like I said, he's like a pretty average, like, he's just a normal cat being put into this world kind of thing. Kind of vibes. But yeah. He earns the name Snowfeather. That is his warrior name. He is given this name due to the fact of the way he fights kind of remind, like with the throwing himself and the twisting and the twirling and spinning. Reminds them of how like when a feather falls and is like on the wind, it spins and it twirls, and it kind of reminds them of that, so that's why he gets the name Snowfeather. I was gonna go Snowstorm, but that didn't feel right for him, so Snowfeather. Snow has like grown into himself more, he understands himself a bit more, and he's quite sassy and stubborn. Like, he's pretty sassy and stubborn. As you can see in one of the drawings, he is actively not listening to Bramble. Or watching Bramble. And that is because when Bramble is made deputy, Snow will just sometimes not listen to him when he's giving orders because he doesn't believe Bramble's a good deputy. He also just doesn't like his vibes, and if he doesn't like your vibes, he will do his best to stay away and not do what the other cat tells him to do. And he doesn't like Bramble's vibes. Like, they were like friends as apprentices, but like once they grew up, he was like, what is happening here? I don't know what's happening here, I don't want to be a part of it, goodbye. Kind of thing. Like, he is the epitome of, oh, shit's gonna go down with you, I'm out, kind of thing. Like, if he notices, like, I think the best way to say is if Snow notices that like shit's gonna go down around you, he's just gonna dip. He's also the same way towards Ashfur. Like, he distances himself from Ashfur a lot because he's like, your vibes are rancid, goodbye. There's no supernatural StarClan power thing for when he can like just tell when someone's not like is either just not gonna have a good time and like is gonna affect the others around them, or is just gonna be a shitty person. He's just good at reading people, and he's just good at predicting shit. Like, he's just good at like figuring out stuff. He's a smart cat. He makes some friends in the clan. He's friends with Squirrelfight because they have similar personalities, being sassy and stubborn, and like doing good, pretty much like trying their best to do good even if it's like against the rules kind of thing. He befriends Brightheart and Longtail because they were close to Swift, so they bond over their friendship that they had with Swift. He's still close with his former mentor Brackenfur. I didn't talk a lot about like his relationship with Brackenfur, but I feel like it's an older brother, younger brother situation kind of thing. He also actively helps teach the younger generations the cat sign language that Brackenfur, and Speckletail came up with when he was younger. Because one, it's good to be able to communicate with your clanmates. Two, it's also just really good for patrols and like other things like missions and shit. It's good to be able to communicate without having to talk. Like in real life, I think everyone should be taught sign language. Because it's just a good skill to have. It's a good language to know. Anyway, he would also like to have the other clans learn the cat sign language. Because he would, one, like to be able to communicate with the cats of the gathering. And two, it's just a good thing to know, like I said. But that's like a large task for like one cat to do, so him and Brackenfur are considering asking their leader and medicine cats about joining the medicine cats at the half moon meeting to teach the medicine cats of the other clans the cat sign language so they can teach their clans. Like, they think it'd be smarter if they go, alright, here is a small meeting of a small group of cats. We teach them the cat sign language, and then they go back to their clans and they can teach their cats. Because that is just like the smartest way to go about it, in my opinion. And that's like the thing that I said that like might affect plot, is just actively like trying to teach the other clans things. Because like it's been shown a lot in canon that the clans don't like to tell the other clans about important shit. Because they're like, oh no, this is our home advantage, kind of thing. But yeah, that's about it. Honestly, I didn't like get too far. Like I said, I didn't like get too into the other arcs like I did the first arc. Because I remember the first arc a lot more vividly than I do the other arcs. Like technically I do have all the books for those arcs, but I haven't read them, but I have read the first arc and a little bit of the second. Like most of the stuff I know is through secondhand like information, watching warrior animations, and just seeing people rant about characters and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, that's about it, so I hope you all enjoyed, and if this becomes a series, I hope you come back for the next episode. And I hope you have a great day or night, depending on where you are, or when you're watching. So yeah. Bye-bye.